Hi there, this is the first movie for the first lecture on comparative literature for the first semester presented by Sumio Umekawa with my old picture. This is when I was about a month old, and you would be very shocked when you firstly attend the in-person lecture how this cute baby turned out to be. So, this first lecture is the introduction, and I'm going to talk about my lecture style, markings, and lecture plan, as well as rough history of Chinese dynasty and how to write essay. And this first lecture is consisted of three movies. In this first movie, I'm going to talk about lecture style, marking, and lecture plan. And in the second one, I'm going to talk about a rough history of Chinese dynasty. And in the final third movie, I'm going to talk about essay writings, how to write essay, especially the academic essay. So let's start with lecture style. This series of lecture is supposed to be given in English. Therefore, this series of lecture is English lecture. And the point is, this is a lecture given in English and not a lecture for English. Therefore, if you listen to the English lecture and if you don't understand, it's quite pointless. Therefore, basically, all the slide contains Japanese. And also, I prepare English-only movies as well as with Japanese movie. Therefore, you can choose English only movie or with Japanese movie. The English only, you can actually shorten the time to watch the movie. But for some topics you are not very much familiar with, I would recommend you to use with Japanese version. So when you listen to the full English version or the English part, and if you are a Japanese student who hadn't really lived abroad, try to get 60% of English, which is enough. It is because when we listen to the lecture in our mother tongue, we actually understand around 60% of them. We think that we understood 100%, but we actually don't. But we think that we understood everything because we filled up the blank by guessing works. So try to understand an English lecture about 60% and try to do the guessing work where you don't understand, just like you actually unconsciously do in your mother tongues. And if you're very good at English or you're a student from the English-speaking countries, try to use Japanese summary to check technical words and jargons in Japanese summary. Of course, you can understand English perfectly. Probably my broken grammars or broken accents would make you to understand a bit difficult. But even if you can understand everything in English, you may have chance or occasion to discuss the matter with Japanese people in Japanese. So if you use the Japanese summary version, try to check the technical words. And there are three styles of lectures within this series of lecture. The first one is video lectures only, like this one. And in that case, I would like you to take notes and submit your notes for your attendance. And of course, we will have in-person lecture in the future. And if you attend the in-person lecture, you do not have to submit anything. Well, actually, individual worksheet. But in almost all the in-person lecture, you're going to do the group work. And the group worksheet should be submitted at the lecture. There will be two discussion sessions, including one on-demand discussion session. And for these discussion sessions, I'd like you to submit a summary of discussion within a week. So you do not have to submit on that day, but you have to make a summary of the discussion and submit your summary within a week, please.
And sometimes you may not be able to attend the in-person lecture. In that case, you can do the individual worksheet, which will be uploaded for the Canvas by yourself, and you have to submit your individual worksheet to the Canvas for your attendance. So let's move on to the markings. I would mark you on the basis of two things. The first one is notes and worksheets submission. Every student will be required to send a photo of notes or worksheet to the submission box on the Canvas for each lecture, except for the in-person lecture and if you attend the in-person lecture. Otherwise, you have to submit something, notes or worksheets, to the Canvas. Um, because of the order from the Japanese Department of Education, in order to get markings, you have to attend more than two-thirds of every lecture. So, given that if you're going to take all the lecture on demand, you need to submit more than 10 notes or worksheet. So, because of this order from the Department of Education, I have to check how many times you would attend to the lecture. And because this series of lecture include some on-demand lectures, I'd like you to submit notes.
Although I needed to attend more than two-thirds of the lectures so that I can give you markings, the basic markings will be on your final essay. I would like you to submit an academic style essay in English on comparative literature. Which should be written more than 1,500 words and should be finished within 3,000 words. And the deadline of this final long essay is going to be the 5th of February 2026.
The final essay is something like compare and contrast more than two literary works. You can choose whatever literary works as you like. And because it should be written in academic style, you need to put footnotes or notes when you quote uh, or when you refer to the ideas of other people. And also, I'd like you to put bibliography at the end of your essay. So please bear in mind, you have to submit final essay to get markings. Submission of notes and worksheets are not enough. The submission of notes and worksheets are just for me to give you mark.
So let's quickly check the schedule of this series of lecture. The first one, which is actually this one, is the introduction and on-demand lecture. And for this one, there are three movies, and you do not have to take notes for this first one and third one, but I'd like you to take notes for the second movie and submit it to the Canvas for the attendance. And the second lecture is again on demand, in which I want to talk about the rough history of Chinese literature up to Weijing period. And for this second lecture, you have to submit notes for attendance. The third lecture is again on demand. We will continuously look at the rough history of Chinese literature after the waiting period up to Ming period. And for this one, again, you have to take notes and submit notes for your attendance. From the first to seventh lecture, we will concentrate on reading Chinese version of Magistrate Xue proves his divinity through a fish. This particular material is rather long, so I'm going to divide the long material into four parts. So on the first lecture, we will concentrate on page 1 to 4, on the fifth lecture, page 5 to 8, and etc. And for each lecture, I'll provide you a worksheet, and you have to fill in the worksheet by yourself. And afterwards, I'm going to divide you into small groups, and you can share the ideas amongst the groups. So it's going to be a kind of group works at the end, and you have to submit the worksheet you've done as a group to me, which is going to be the mark of attendance. The eighth lecture is going to be on demand, and which is going to be the lecture on Ueda Akinari and Ugetsu Monogatari. So for this one, you have to take notes and submit notes for your attendance. The ninth and tenth lecture, we are going to concentrate on the reading Japanese version of The Carp That Came to My Dream, which was a kind of um, anthology to the Chinese version. And the 11th lecture is going to be the first discussion session on magistrate, the Chinese one, and the carp, the Japanese one. So we will use the worksheet of yours, and I'm going to give you some topic or theme to discuss about. So firstly, you're going to divide into small groups and discuss about the topic or theme. Then finally, as a whole class, we're going to share the ideas. And for this particular one, I'd like you to make a summary of the discussion afterwards. And I'd like you to submit your summary within a week to the Canvas, which is going to be the attendance. And on the 12th lecture is going to be on demand again, in which I'm going to talk about the Buddhist ideologies in China and Japan. So for this particular one, you have to take notes and submit your notes to the Canvas, which is going to be your attendance. The 13th lecture is in person again, and on the basis of the 12th lecture, we're going to do the comparison of two works, Magistrate and the Carp, again, but this time from Buddhist point of view. So we're going to do group works again, and you have to submit the worksheet of the group for the attendance. The 14th lecture is going to be on demand again, but this particular lecture is going to be the second discussion session. But differently from the 11th one, the 14th one is going to be on demand. We're going to use the discussion board on Canvas. And for this 14th lecture about the discussion, we're going to try to compare and contrast two articles, um, the magistrate and the carp, from Buddhist point of view. So, because this is going to be the discussion session, I'd like you to make a summary of discussion and submit it within a week, which is going to be your attendance. The final 15th lecture is going to be on demand again. And actually, the 15th lecture is about you know, the final essay. And I'd like you to write final essay. Otherwise, I can't really mark you. So I'd like you to use this 15th lecture uh, on demand lecture to prepare and finalize your final essay. So for the 15th lecture, I would provide you a kind of essay worksheet. You can use essay worksheet to prepare and finalize your own essay, but you can't really submit the worksheet as an essay. But anyway, I would like you to use this 15th lecture for your final essay. So finally, I repeat again, the final essay submission is due 5th of February 2026.
So this is the end of the first part of movie for the first lesson. To see you in the second movie.